Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Welcome to the Pattern Shop. We're still here, still doing stuff. I did make it down to the foundry Sunday. Cast a couple more of the handles and casting some more of the Y pipes. I'm having some issues with them. So I'm just kind of getting into the foundry thing. Last couple of years, my equipment's still kind of getting there, and for doing like stuff for customers now, we gotta make sure everything's really top notch. So one of the things I did was the flasks I'm using for these. When I cast these before, what was happening, I was probably scrapping out a good 30%, 40% of them, which isn't good. A lot of it's mismatched and that. I think a problem was the pins weren't long enough. When I was bringing the co-path up, I was moving it and it was kind of messing the mold up a little bit. So we fixed the pin issue, and it's been cold up here. It's winter time here, so it's getting cold. So when we poured these Sunday, what I did was I poured the aluminum molds first, heated the sand up, and then we made these. But still, the metal was still chilling off before you know, they filled all the cavities. So what I did was, probably if you can remember, this is a co-path. These are the runners, right? Now we're using these as risers. And then I just had the in gates, I just put a little piece of half dowel in between these. So what I ended up doing was I took these runners off and put in gates in between there too. So we got the in gates a little bit bigger now. So hopefully that'll alleviate that. I could have kept on going as is, but I mean, to scrap 30% of the castings out, that's a lot of scrap. So it's basically unacceptable, really. And you can say, yeah, I'm just getting started out and that. But we'll see how that goes. If I have a camera, I'll take you guys up there. Okay, these jobs are coming along. I went and got gated. I didn't have the camera to show you how I gated everything, but this particular one, I'm making a core box for it right now, okay? And that's one of those things, and especially with me, not to try to make excuses, it's life. It's got so much stuff going right now. I got this done, I got the gated, we gated this job here, okay, and then the bronze arm one, the pattern that we made first here, you know, I got that gated also. What I'm going to do today with you guys is, in doing all this stuff, I forgot I had to make a core box for this this job right here, okay? A real simple one, it's just a little cylindrical core box, okay, real simple. Couple ways you can go about it is, normally what I would do, I'd get the split centers out. Real quick too, what we're going to do is the customer wants different core boxes, okay? One of the main core boxes, or the most common one's called a dump box, okay? It's just one box with a hole in it filled full of sand. You dump the sand out, dump core box, okay? The other one's split, so it'll be the two halves. And when you take the core box away, you got the whole core sitting there. Okay, a lot of cylindrical jobs, when they're only doing, you know, say they had to make a dozen of these, so they'd have to have 2 dozen cores because there's 2 of them in there. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll just make 1/2 of a dump box and then they'll just glue them together. The customer wants a full split box for this, okay? So what I'm going to teach you today is, like I said, normally what I'll do is I'll take it over to the lathe and get the split centers out and turn both halves, okay? So I know a lot of you guys don't have lathe. Alright, so I'm going to show you a simple way to do this real quick, and you can actually, I'll show you some other stuff too with this too. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to do this by hand, okay? So first thing I did, I got 2 pieces of wood out. I got it to the length that it needs to be close to. Alright, then what I did, I got my good parting. I took it over to the sander, got my parting Okay, so what I'm going to do, and then I also have a good square edge too, okay? So I got flat edge, square edge, okay? So these are square to the parting, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dab of glue. I'm going to put three little dabs of glue in here, spot glue, what we call spot glue. Okay, just 3 little beads. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this together. Alright, just 3 little spots like that, okay? We're going to put this together. I'm going to let it sit for about half an hour, alright? You don't need to put clamps on this or anything, okay? Now, the reason I can do this way, this particular hole is going to be machined, alright? So I've got a good heavy 1/8 of an inch machining on this wall. So if this is off, I can do it by hand, and if it's off a little bit, you know, it's not going to be a big deal. If this was a round hole that was to be as cast, I would do it on the lathe for the accuracy, okay? But like I said, you guys, a lot of guys won't have your lathes yet, and so I'm going to show you how to do it by hand with just using. Another thing, I'm going to cheat a little bit too. I'm going to do some band sawing and some sanding, but you could do this totally by hand with a block plane. Alright, so I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm going to do some other stuff in between. When this is spot glued together, a little cured up there, I'll turn you back on. Okay guys, hang on. Okay guys, we let this sit a little bit. It's stuck together pretty good. What I did before I turned on the camera, I squared both the ends from the flat side, okay? And I left it a little bit long again, like I said, okay? So I always leave it a little longer. So next of all, what I'm going to do, you already have your center for the parting line, okay? So that's the center. I want to get another center to get the perpendicular center, okay? And then what you're going to do, you can only have to do the ends for the center this way, because you're going to lose you know, the centers here, because we're going to be cutting that off, alright? But we want to get the centers here. That way, when I do this, when I strike my arc on here with my dividers, I'll be, you know, the same distance from that edge in, okay? So I got my divider set what I need. Alright, I've got my, let me put the pencil mark on here. Alright, and then what I'm going to do too with this, I'm going to cheat a little bit. What you can do, like I said, I got, you know, I've got a band saw and the sander, right? So it's easier for me. So I'm going to band saw and sander most of this. And like I said, that's, you know, that's first 2 machines that you want to get. You know, get a band saw first, because you can always hand plane stuff down here, hand sand and that, okay, and then you know, get your sander next, okay. So it'll make things so much easier for you to have those 2 pieces of equipment. Like I said, for pattern making, I mean, to get started, get a bandsaw. You need a bandsaw. Sand, get a sander, disc sander if you can get it. We got dust flying in here again. Sorry. Get your disc sander, and then if you can find an oscillating spindle sander down the road, get that one. And then, like I said, down the road, you get a nice lathe. That way you can do this, but I'm going to show you how to do this real quick here. Alright, so, jeez, oh man, this looks terrible. This looks like my grandson's doing this. He can't write yet, so. Okay, so we got this, your circle here, we got the parting, we got a line there, okay? So next what I'm going to do is, what I want to do is, like I told you with when you start out on the lathe, I want to make this an octagon now, okay? So I'm going to take my square, alright, and then I'm going to put my octagonal lines on here, And usually if this was square, this is kind of rectangular shape, so I'm not going to be able to do it. If this was square, all I would have to do is put one of these on there, and then I can put my lines around it. Since it's kind of irregular shape, we're going to go ahead and put them all on here. Alright, and then I'll show you where we're going to go from here. Alright, so here's what we're looking like so far, okay? So this is parallel, this is parallel. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take my thumb gauge, I'm going to put it to the tangency of the radius here. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this out. And this is going to kind of stink too, because what I'll have to do, see how this side's busted out here? I'm not going to be able to thumb gauge that side. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this side again. Alright, just hook your scribe in there, your blade, set it, and then I can make my mark here. And then I'm going to lose a bunch of it too, because that's not there. So, and then I got these two. So what I'll do, I'll start out with these two. I'm going to cut on a bandsaw, we'll sand it, and then from there, what we'll be able to do is, I'm going to square this up a little bit and then go for my octagonal lines there. Alright, I'm going to do this side too. But what this will allow me to do is, I'm going to start over here again. Let me get this one side square. Let me get this one side square, and then I'll show you where I'm at. Hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, this might be a little bit easier here now. Alright, so I have my round. I got tangency up here, tangency down there. Okay, so next I want to get my sides. Alright, so same thing I just showed you, but this way will I had to get below this little cutout here. Okay, so with that being done, it'd be a little bit easier. Okay, so like I said, what I did, I bandsawed and sanded. Okay, and then if you know, you can still do this with, you know, block plane. And what we'll do one day, I'll do a lesson on just using hand planes. All right. I just gotta find the project to do it with. I don't want to just blatantly, you know. Unfortunately I don't have time to just do a lesson like that. Okay, you kind of got to do lessons with the projects I'm doing. Okay. So we'll try to get there. Okay, so I got these two lines here that's going to hit the tangency of the side here. So I'll sand those out, and that'll be perfectly square, and then I'll show you where to go from there. Hang tight. Okay guys, this is perfectly square now. This is probably the easiest way to do this. Like I said, it was rectangular before. Get it square, okay? So now I've got my 45s on here. All I got to do is match up with one. Okay. And actually, you only really need to put the 145 on two if you square it up like this, okay? And then just go around and just mark it on here. Alright, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you guys over to the bandsaw, and I'll show you how to do this next part, okay? Okay guys, we're over here at the bandsaw. I'm going to show you this real quick. I'll show you the first one, then we'll get you a close up a little bit. Alright, so we got our lines on here, okay? And that's basically the tangent to that 45, okay? So real easy, like I said, this is doesn't have to be super accurate, so you could do this on a table saw if you have a table saw on that. I just always do it on the bandsaw here. Like I said, it's faster for me, and yeah, you know, I've been doing this for a long time too. So all I did was cut a little block with the 45, and I'm going to use this as like a little jig to keep this at a 45 degree, my cutting piece at a 45 degree angle, okay? And then I'm just gonna cut the one side. That's all you need to do. Then that'll be at a 45, so all you gotta do is do each piece. All right, I've showed you this before, but just in case you haven't seen, let me get you close up here. Okay, see, now all I'm going to do is just rest it on there, and I'm good, okay? Okay guys, there you go. So now I'm going to take this over since I have it. I'm going to do this part on the sander. You can take your block plane and do it with the block plane also. Like I said, I got a sander, so I'm going to do it on the sander. Let's get over there. Okay guys, we sanded this all out to an octagon shape. Now like I said, if you don't have a sander, you know, you can use a hand plane. I got the sander. I'm just going to do it that way real quick. Okay, so here we got the octagon, and all the octagon 8 sides are tangent to this radius, right? So all you gotta do is take this little notch off there. Now you could figure out, I think it's 22.5 degrees if you want, but I just will take my block plane. Now here's a catch here too, okay? Should have told you this before I got on the machineries again too, guys. If you do not like the way I do something, please don't do it the way I do it, because like I said, I've been doing this for so many years, okay? It's second nature to me how I do stuff, okay? So this, it's big enough. My vise is in my bench. My bench is full of crap as usual, okay? So I don't have the room for it. If you don't have a vise, you know, you can use this by hand. You can set it up on a bench, clamp it. You know, there's all different ways you can, you know, do things. If you don't have, you know, you're gonna have to figure out the MacGyver ways. Like I said, I really didn't want to do that, but what I'm looking at is, like I keep on forgetting, you guys don't have full-size shops, okay? So I could take it and like I said, be careful doing this. If you do this by hand, that's a real sharp blade. You hit your finger, you're gonna take some skin off, okay? So be careful. So all I gotta do is take a few cuts here, keep your eye on it. And what I basically want to do is, how I got the 8 points, I'm tangent to the 8 points on my octagon, I'm doing the same thing, okay? But I'm just doing it with the hand plane. Yeah, I could probably do it on the sander, but by the time I get the angle out there and that, it's just not. Okay, so see, you can see I'm fairly close, okay? So I'm going to do a couple of them, get them close, okay, and then I'll show you another trick I've showed you before. Alright, like I said, this particular piece is not that, doesn't have to be that accurate because there's a lot of finished machining in it, okay? So always try to do things the best you can, but you know, like I said, there are times where, you know, it's, I don't want to spend 8 hours doing this, you know, and you're not going to get paid for it. So, all right, and then, yeah, just learn how to use your hand tools. That's the other thing. All right, and we'll start looking into, I'll start showing you how to do some of these. And then, you know, like I said, sharpening is going to be the biggest thing. Okay, so you see, real quick, that was real time, okay? See, I'm down there again, okay? But you can see I still got square edges, okay? So for me, and like I said, I'm going to get to be, I'll put my fat head on. It's always there, really. But I could basically do this and get this really close, take a piece of sandpaper. I'm good, okay? So when you're first starting out, get a little block of wood, put the radius that you're using in there, and this is less than 1/4 of the radius too, okay? So, because you can't wrap it all the way around if it's past that, okay? So I do that, grab a kindergarten crayons, a darker one if you can, and then the piece of wood you use too, I always try to use hardwood. If you use pine, it doesn't work. You rub the pine away, but you actually do. It's and then I think all the pine tar in it, all the sap, and it's just kind of crappy too. So you take that and then you just rub it, or you can twist it and rub it at the same time, so you can see all the brown marks. Obviously, that's where the height is on that. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to plane those crayon marks off, okay? And then you just keep on going, and you'll notice you gotta do this every once in a while too. And then every once in a while too, what'll happen is the crayon itself starts getting a little hard or something. It doesn't come off as good, so you kind of have to take a knife and scrape it. Alright, but I'll show you. See how it's getting a little darker, more spots on there, right? So you just take that, okay, and you just keep on going until you get it round. All right, see I'm getting more spots on there. All right, so that means I'm getting more into this being really round. All right, and then you actually have to go a little more than just a spot. You gotta go a little bit past, you know. Here, I'll show you this real quick. You can see that whole part up there. I hope you can see it, the line. I mean, I'm pretty close to there. All right. So anyhow, from there, we're gonna do the magic of filmography here. I actually started this before. Okay. So here's my half of my core stick. Okay. What I did was I just grabbed a piece of, the one I'm doing a lot of these jobs, this job actually, it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit, they're going to need a few of them. That's why I'm doing a split core box. Plus the foundry guy I know pretty well, he helps me out a lot, so instead of like a half dump, I'll do a split for him, make it easier for him a lot of times. So I'm kind of doing that too. But anyhow, I'm going to do the two halves. Alright, I got the other half loose over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this plastic, okay, and then when I split it apart, the core stick will be in there. I'll glue this one on. I'm going to put the other half of the core box on and we'll pour it. I'm almost ready to pour this. I'll get ready to pour, and I'll show you where I'm at pouring it wise, okay? But you know, for doing round stock, I mean, that's all you gotta do. You know, you can, right here, use a hand plane, okay? And I did use a bandsaw and a sander, but you know, for the most part, you probably, like I said, it would be difficult without the bandsaw. If you had a table saw, you could do it on a table saw, easy too, you know, but like I said, try to get a bandsaw, whatever you can do, you know, with that. So let me get this finished, ready to pour, and when I pour it, I'll turn you guys back on. All right, hang tight. Okay, guys, we're ready to pour. Like I said, when you do this, I have a couple things I got to pour today, so you know, try to do as many pours in one thing as you can. Okay, one of the things I'm going to do is this is the one guy's gating. Okay, so this is going to be the drag side. Okay, it's cope side. That's drag side. That's where the sprue is going to go. Okay, so this piece of aluminum around here is where you put the little piece of mesh, and then we got this hole in here that's going to create it's going to create like a little finger sticking up in the middle of the mesh, so the mesh doesn't collapse. All right, so I probably do those a few times a year for this guy. And, you know, every time I do it, it's to make that hole in that piece of wood sucks. It really does. So what I'm going to do is just going to make a mold. All right, so I made one, okay, out of wood. And I greased it up, put a little frame around it. We're going to make a mold on that. And anytime we got any extra plastic, what we can do is just make some plastic ones. That'll be easier. That way I don't have to keep on... you know, because what I have to do is dig through my tapered cutters and figure that out. It's a pain. Okay, so here's the half a core box. All right, so it's going to be open at each end. So I had to put a piece of plywood at each end. That's what these two larger clamps are for. All right. So what I did, I put a pour hole in the middle, and then I made some vent holes here. Okay, that's pretty important, and they're the highest point. Here, I'll show you on this half here. Okay, so that's what that looks like inside. Okay, so the plastic's gonna come up here, and then this is the highest point. So I got these holes. So as the plastic comes up, it'll come out these vent holes. Okay, that way you don't get air trap in there, and it won't let the plastic flow out. Okay, so that's for those. All right, and then I put this little bit of a riser on here also, and that's going to help, you know, put some pressure down in there. You just got to watch once the plastic starts coming up the vent holes, and you gotta watch, otherwise you pour plastic all over. Okay, I'm going to pour this one first too, because I want the maximum flowability of this. The other one, it's open, and if I scrap it, it's, you know, something for me. This is for a customer. All right, so I got my container marked out. Like I said, usually I wear gloves. I'm just getting low on those right now, so we start pouring this thing. And, let's see where we get to. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. You can see the urethane coming up there, and so we're gonna go over to this other one, and it's just open. So, okay. Now, see, what I'm gonna do is, a lot of times, I mean, I've been doing this for years, and I'm not all that great still. You know, you try to want to have as little as you can, but see, I got a little bit in there, so that's why when you make gating pieces or whatever, you know, I could just go ahead and make sure I grease one of those up before you start pouring, and I could pour and make some gating pieces. I do some other gating pieces for this guy too, so, you know, that's kind of a little idea. That you know, but you can't do it unless you have a customer that, you know, does stuff the same all the time. So I'm gonna let those things sit for a little bit, and then what we'll do is, once this hardens up, we'll go ahead and spot glue the other half of the core stick on, put the frame on, and do the same thing again, and the core box will be done. We'll have to pin it too. This one, what I'm gonna do, I'll show you. I don't think I've showed you yet. You can use dowel pins, especially when you first get out, like the regular wooden dowel pins. Some guys will get some brass rod, which isn't too expensive. You can use brass rod, it's a little better. Freeman actually has some dowel pins. I'll show you those. We'll put those in this one, because like I said, this one's for a customer, so we want to do it all up and nice. All right, so let me let this stuff sit for a little bit, and when we get ready to pour the other one, we'll turn you guys back on. All right. Okay guys, another day here. I'm finishing up this core box that we started yesterday. Alright, so what I did, I poured the second half of this. Okay, and then from there, what I did before I took this apart, I want to put brass dowel pins in. We said we're going to put some brass dowel pins, okay? So here they are. Okay, you got a male and a female. Okay, they're threaded. Freeman makes these, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Ken Collins made these. Theirs, I think, were better. I'm thinking that Freeman is continuing with the Master brand. I'm not 100% sure, but you have a special tool for it. It's got, this will be for the female hole. I don't know, I should go get a bigger one. Let me go get some bigger ones. There's all different sizes of these. Those are the smallest ones. Let me get a bigger one and I show you a little better. Okay guys, here's a bigger one. Here, I don't know if you can see it, but in that hole there's some slots in there, okay? So that'll take the square, that'll fit in there, okay? And you'll be able to turn it. And then this one has flats on it. This particular one, this is a Ken Collins brand. This pin has some slots in it also. So this will be the male side. Okay, so you can put these things in without these wrenches. These wrenches, I don't think they're 20 bucks, you know, from Freeman and that, but a lot of these, they're kind of standard, so you can take like a high-speed steel tool bit, lathe tool bit, and fit in there or something, you know, 1/2 inch stock, 3/8 stock. I think they're kind of on the standard side. You can do that. It's just a pain, you know. And then the males, that's a little different, right? So what I did was, before we take this core stick out, okay, I drilled the holes, that way I know where I'm at, alright? And like I said, usually I take, I'll pin one before, but this core stick's in there, it's keeping everything in line, okay? So that's kind of unnecessary. And it doesn't really matter which way. I should probably take this core stick out, we'll get this out. It doesn't matter which side you put what in, it's just the same. Put the males in one side, the females on the other side, and that. And then the other thing you want to do with these two is whenever you're doing any kind of pin, either patterns, core boxes, you gotta kind of don't ever put your pins like right on center, right where. I'll show you why in a minute. But these, what I did, this rail here is probably only about 3/4 of an inch, something like that, and it's you know, so you kind of hard side to side where you're going from. But what I did was, from each end, I ended up staggering it a little bit. Let me get a hammer real quick, see if we can get this to pop out here. Not gonna come easy. And these things, actually, you gotta kind of, you'll get to it over the years. You can put a square on there, you know, when you're first starting out. These they gotta be in there straight, okay? But okay, so this one, it's like good inch and 1/4, and then this one's 3/4 of the way down, okay? And then what I'll do too, I'll probably put a little, okay, see, so it's not going together. So probably that'll do it. It's easier with the smaller ones. The bigger ones are a little bit different. So, but this is, you know, you can always just slam them up. The biggest thing is is to get them, get the outsides close. That way you know where you're at. Okay, so there's it. So from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut you guys loose here, get stuff in my sinuses again. What I'm going to do from here, really quick, you can see this is like a little on the thinner side. With the plastic being there, more than likely it's not going to curve up, but it could. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, I'm going to glue these on both sides of this, I'm going to trim them, and then I'm going to knock the corners off and I'll be done. Okay, the plywood's a little bit more stable than the regular wood. That's why I do that. It's just, It's not a real big deal. It's just, to me, it's a little extra. One of my customers is like, you don't need to, you don't need to, you don't. It's, you know, plywood is getting expensive now, but for this little tiny box, it's not a big thing. So there's your box, core box. That's a really easy one. Like I said too, with you know, making that cylindrical core stick, you know, if you don't have a sander in that, so we showed you how to use the block plane. I'll try to get more videos with me just using hand planes, but like I said, I don't like to just do things out of the blue. I want to try to incorporate it into something I'm doing. So, and if I don't anytime soon, what we'll do is we'll just do something. We'll figure something out. So, got a couple more jobs coming up. We'll see how things go with those, and make sure, like I said, we'll always include you guys in these things and that. So, you know, with that being said, everybody that has subscribed, I really appreciate it. Anybody who hasn't subscribed, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, I want to keep these things going, okay? Push the like button for me if you can. And with that, everybody have a good one out there and stay safe.